everybody. Still super hot in my car. So you're probably gonna hear my windows down a little bit. Maybe I'll try to close them. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the latest news as far as the COVID-19 debacle. So I think it was on the 28th. Sorry, I had to wear a mask all day. On the 28th, there was a group of doctors that stood on the Capitol steps of Washington and explained to the world that we have been driven and controlled by fear, that COVID-19 patients did not need to die, that there is what they're calling a cure, but at least a treatment that was working for many, many, many patients, for some of these doctors. And that treatment, at least for one doctor, who's an African-American woman, she is actually from Africa. Her name is Dr. Stella Emanuel, and she works in Texas now. And she has treated, I think it was over 350 patients that had COVID. And instead of panicking and placing them on ventilators immediately, they actually treated them with the hydroxychloroquine and zinc, large doses of zinc, and Zithromax, I think they said, or zithromycin or something like that, which is odd, which is an antibiotic, I believe. And, sorry, the sun. And they had amazing results. Nobody died. Everyone healed and recovered. She even had patients that were as old as, I think, 92. She said 87-year-olds, people that had diabetes, people that had heart disease, people that were struggled with obesity, all those sorts of things. So they had comorbidities, but still were able to be treated this way and survive. And so I kind of wanted to comment on this because if anybody knows me personally, I am terrified and abhor going to the doctor. I will wait till I'm on my deathbed before I go to see a doctor, go to get any kind of treatment, and I treat myself at home. I'm a huge fan of natural remedies. Oh, I'm coming into some construction here. It's really going to get hot. Huge fan of natural remedies, and treat myself at home. Try to do things proactively, like taking probiotics and taking things to try to keep my immune system high. So for me to be somewhat supporting or, researching into what these doctors were saying is probably a little far-fetched for me. However, there's got to be some kind of turning point with what's been going on. I mean, we are spiraling. The country and the world, other countries, are spiraling out of control. I mean, we are, like they mentioned, we are in a spider web of fear, which I agree. And it's getting out of control, 100% completely out of control. And there's no need for it. Like, these doctors are explaining that so many people died that did not need to die. They should have been treated a different way. They should not have gone on the fence. And also that we should not be wearing the masks. The masks are unhealthy. They definitely admitted that people should not be closing their businesses, that kids should be going back to school, that we don't necessarily need these masks, that even the one doctor, Stella, said that she had all her staff taking the hydroxychloroquine and the zinc as a preventative. So people are all of a sudden afraid. Like, I don't agree with. I don't understand why the antibiotic, but apparently it worked. But however, sometimes when you're sick, you get, also will end up with bacterial infections. So maybe that was because of that. I don't know. But the hydroxychloroquine, from what I've researched just a little bit, it opens up pathways in the body so that your body, like your muscles in your body, can utilize minerals. So then when you take it with something like zinc, which heals mucous membranes, it makes sense to me that that would allow then a natural mineral to heal the mucous membranes of like the sinuses and the lungs and the bronchial tubes in the throat and whatever is being affected by this COVID-19 symptoms. So, sorry, I'm in traffic. I'm just trying to pay attention to traffic as well. And I've heard other doctors mentioning that you don't necessarily have to do the hydroxychloroquine, but you could just do straight up quinine. And people have used tonic water or just quinine and have been getting similar results, or even just doing that as a preventative. So, you know, if people use stuff like quinine when they're having like muscle spasms and muscle cramping in the legs, and it allows your body then, if you're taking like potassium and salt and other minerals, then to get those minerals to those muscles so that the cramping and the spasms stop, that makes sense. I mean, to me, it kind of reminds me of like taking L-arginine to open up the blood to increase nitric oxide and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying stuff that I've read, stuff that I've researched. But I did work for 10 years in a nutrition center, so I know a little bit about it. And like I said, I'm not a huge advocate on doctors and big pharma. No way. I get it why people are upset. However, something has to give and something needs to change. And if these doctors are stepping out and saying, you know, we are actually healing people, we're not hurting people, and this is at least this is another way of treatment so that people are not dying on the vents. The vents and the vaccine pathway needs to stop, and this could stop it. So how is it that could be that terrible of a thing? I think time will tell. I mean, I don't necessarily want us all being guinea pigs, and then hydroxychloroquine end up hurting a lot of people as well. But so far, it seems as though the people they've treated haven't been hurt. They might have some weird symptoms, but they're not dying. They're not for 3 weeks being stuck with a vent down their throat, breathing for them, and just being flipped on a table back and forth and being sedated and knocked out and tranquilized and paralyzed. I mean, there's hospitals where nobody survived that. But then there's these hospitals where they're doing the treatments with zinc and the hydroxychloroquine to help get it into your body. Sorry, a big beetle just came in my car window. Like a June beetle or something. Well, he can just stay back there. I hope he flies out. Oh my god, he just flew up here. Okay. Anyway, you can just go right out the window. There you go. He just flew out. Never a dull moment. Okay. My dad used to get hit by those when he was on a motorcycle, and it felt like bullets. They're like, I'm not doing a bad symbol. They're like this big. They're huge. They're like the size of like a quarter. Anyway, it upsets me that, you know, some of these doctors are standing up and trying to actually help people with recovery, and it not being, you know, a death sentence with the ventilator, and not needing us to do the vaccinations, and getting rid of the masks, opening up businesses, going back to school, all these things and the goals that we want, they want to help us with, and then the truther community wants to attack them. What? Okay, they're not going to be perfect, and none of you guys are either. Okay, we're all at different levels. So even though a doctor who may have studied, you know, they've done their practice for so long, yes, they may push a lot of prescriptions that we do not agree with. It's still ultimately your choice. But if they're coming up with a solution, like I said, that is not as deadly as these ventilators, and not as deadly and scary and dangerous and New World Order agenda-ish like the vaccinations, then let's see where this goes. Everyone's not going to be perfect. Like I've said on some of these comment threads, it's baby steps. and you can't just come out and tell people, because people are saying, oh, what about germ therapy, and what about viruses aren't real? And I get that. I've read and listened to all that. I've listened to Dr. Kaufman, I've listened to Amanda Vollmer, and I love them both. Super respect them, and I understand where you're coming from. However, not everyone's going to be on that same level. You're not going to be able to tell them viruses don't exist, and viruses is actually just exosomes being, excreted by your cells naturally when your body comes under duress. People aren't going to listen. Now some of us are, because some of us are much more open-minded, but it's so hard. It would be so hard to explain that to the normal average Joe, especially people that are fluoridated and under a lot of fear and vaccinated. They're just not going to understand what we're saying here. So I feel like we're going to have to take baby steps, and you're going to have to be understanding. Now, yes, keep your guard up. I am that way. I'm protective of myself and my truth community. I think it's good that opinion is being spread. Good for you guys saying that. Like, keep it on in the, not in the back of your mind, but keep it in your mind so that you realize and watch for more red flags. But for now, as much as I've studied so many people struggling and suffering and being tortured and dying because of the treatment from this virus, whatever you want to call it, it needs to stop. Here's another option. If indeed this is not a virus, and it's actually... My phone got so hot it shut off again. I literally had to stick my phone out the window to cool it down. It's been an exciting video though. Okay, so what I was saying was, so the other opinion is that if this really truly isn't a virus, and it is the effects of something like 5G rolling out, so radiation in simplest terms, what if something as simple as zinc, which is a mucous membrane healer, is what is curing these people, because they're getting burnt. Like, their mucous membranes are being burnt internally from this 5G radiation, and these are why there's so many different symptoms. Now, I'm not going to go through all that right now, but there are videos upon videos out there if you really search and dig, because Google and YouTube are censoring. But go to DuckDuckGo and go to, I think it's DLive and some other places. You can find videos where people explain how quite possibly and very convincingly that the virus isn't truly a virus that is catchy between humans, that it's actually our body's way of dealing and detoxing and expelling waste from being burnt from 5G. And it makes total sense to me that possibly they have stumbled upon hydroxychloroquine, opening up the pathways to allow zinc to be used by the body to heal the mucous membranes that are being radiated. Does that not make sense? So we kind of do have to look at all options here. So I'm not, going against the truth community when they say, oh my gosh, germ therapy, oh my gosh, viruses don't exist, oh my gosh, don't be going down that rabbit hole. Just listen to me. I mean, I keep my mind open, and when new information becomes available, I adjust my opinions and I adjust my education. I adjust what I share with other people. So I hope that you will all be that way as well, and we need to be compassionate but also respectful and kind to each other. And even though someone's a doctor, they're still a human being. I have doctors that are friends, even though I do not like going to the doctors. They know that. I still love them as humans, and they still have a lot of great knowledge. There's not one of us that's perfect, So, anyway, one last thing I wanted to mention was the Dr. Emmanuel is a lot of them are being attacked. So their social media sites, their Twitter sites, their YouTube channels, their videos, they're being censored, taken down, removed, blocked, put in Facebook jail, all that sort of thing, and attacked. They're being attacked. What do I want to say? Like, their reputations are being attacked, and there's being hit pieces put out on them, and especially when I saw on Dr. Emmanuel, and she, because apparently at some point in time she talks about, you know, the title of the article or whatever says that she talks about demon sperm and something like that, demon sperm and aliens, something. I don't remember exactly the title, but if you are a Christian and you have really dove into Genesis and the flood and fallen angels, and I know there are people that don't agree with me, but there are a lot of people that do, so I'm going to say it's my opinion, and it's something that I've studied, that in Genesis, biblically, the Bible says that the sons of God came down and had relations with the daughters of Eve, and they created a race called the Nephilim, and giants came about that way. And anyway, there are people out there that have done massive amounts of research on this, way better than I have. I'm just kind of rambling. Rob Skiba is one. Skiba is his last name. And the other one is Zen Garcia, and I love both of those men immensely. And both have oodles and oodles of information on all sorts of things, but one thing they have studied and talked about is the, like Zen Garcia, I think, calls it the serpent seed. I think that's what he calls it. And they've done lots and lots of research about this. So this woman, who is a Christian woman, I've listened to her talk, this Stella Emmanuel, she must have mentioned this theory at some point in time, and the articles twisted all around and you know, put out some shocking title about her talking about demon sperm. And so the rest of society looks at her, they're trying to make them look at her like she's absolutely insane. You know what? A lot of those people claim to be Christians. I'm an upstanding, Bible-believing Christian. I go to church and I eat apple pie, I love baseball, and I love America. But yet they have not really studied the Bible and have not really researched it. So just wanted to put that out there, that I actually, if that's what she's talking about, I agree with her after a lot of studying. So look into it. It does sound a little crazy. You got to look into it. So anyway, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. This video is all broken up because I had traffic and all kinds of sort of things going on, and that beetle, which is funny. So I'm going to go home and piece this together and then try to upload it tomorrow, because my cell service at home is horrible, and it will take like 6 hours to upload like a 20-minute video. Yay! I hope you guys are doing well. Still fighting for our freedom face, I call it. I've heard other people call it that. Fighting against the mask. Fighting against our freedoms being taken away from this COVID-19 crap. I like to say crap. Still following Senator Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania. He is doing an amazing job fighting for our freedoms as well. Again, I don't agree with everything he says and has studied and talks about, but in this situation, he is a hero among men, and really like following him. So here in Pennsylvania, we're trying to get it done, trying to actually impeach our governor and get rid of our Secretary of Health, who has done horrible, hellacious things in our state, including allowing COVID-19 positive patients to go back to their nursing homes, and then it spread rampant, and a lot of deaths occurred that should not have. All the while, he snuck his own mother out of the nursing home before he did this, and safely put her up somewhere that he could go visit her, and she would not be amongst those that were contagious. So it was definitely pre-planned, premeditated, horrible. He is a horrible person, even though he is a transgender and thinks he's a woman. It's still a man. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm almost home, and I'll go home and work on this video, and hopefully it didn't turn out looking ridiculous because of all the distractions. This is Sunshine out.